Welcome back, astronomical learners, to this YouTube channel where you can find educational resources. So, today's video, we're going to talk about kindergarten through 8th grade English language arts homework help. So, if you are looking for some homework help, then stay tuned. All right, so first off, remember I'm Mrs. Deanna. I'm a structured literacy tutor. So I want you to know the basics of structured literacy and how it connects to a lot of the spelling issues that we see today. So when we talk about the building blocks, you want to understand that the English language is an alphabetic language. That means that you need to understand that you are building on the speech sounds, the spelling patterns, the meaning units, and then ultimately the word origins. So you don't have to know these big words, but you can if you want to. Now, also, children need to learn in several stages. So, generally, in the emergent grades, you're learning about phonology. In the first through second grades, you're learning more about the letters and patterns. In the third and fourth grades, you're combining all of these and you're adding on to your knowledge and you're adding on the meaning units, which is morphology. And then in fifth through eighth grade, you are developing this mastery and you are including word history here too, which is etymology. You cannot skip these stages because if you do skip one, it's going to hurt going forward. That's why you might hear the third grade slump, because if you didn't get strong phonology and strong orthography or strong morphology in the previous grades, yes, in third grade, you're going to be stuck until you master those stages. So, parents and teachers, do not tell parents to do these certain things at home. So, number one, do not rely on memorization alone. Previously in the past, we had what we called balanced literacy, which was based on whole language, which assumed that kids just learned how to read naturally, which has been debunked, and it focused on picture dictionaries and memorizing words. That is not how our brain learns to read. So if you're coming home to weekly word lists without patterns and that they are just generalizing everything, or if you have memorization breaks with these long words, that's not working. Do not correct every single little error without teaching the solution. So, like red pen corrections that we kind of grew up with, those can cause anxiety or cause a student to shut down and causes them not to take any risks when they are an emergent speller. And then when you have a correction without explanation, it doesn't build the skill. They need to know how to rectify the situation. And do not just say, hey, sound it out, sound it out, sound it out. Don't be that broken record. You need to understand that there are patterns, there are syllables, and there's meaning. We don't want kids to guess and we don't want them to get frustrated and stump. We want to model sounding it out. Hey, this is how I sound it out. Let's listen. K-at. And then I blend. Cat. Can you do that with me? Model and encourage that cooperation. Now, also, do not compare siblings or peers. Comparison is a thief of joy. So, spelling is also a very personal and it's developmental and it's based on our brain and it depends on how much instruction you've gotten or if you connected with that instruction. So, don't compare two people because you're not going to see the same thing. Also, do not assume that careless mistakes are a problem. Inconsistent spelling signals gaps in instruction. So that's where we use that data and we use that information to inform instruction. Also, do not push advanced strategies too early. Etymology, morphology, these are higher order level thinking and they come after the basics of phonics and syllables. So, not to be negative all the time, let's add some positivity. What can you do at home? Well, number one, you want to focus on the sounds, patterns, and meaning, not memorization. So you want to ask these young children, hey, what sounds do you hear in a simple word like cat? K, at. Do you hear the first part? K. Do you hear the middle part? Ah. Do you hear the ending part? T. What spelling pattern do you notice? Or what word part means? You can also encourage spelling attempts before correcting. Let children try first and then guide them to adjust using what they already know. Like the other day, my son asked me how to spell bird and he forgot that I sound because he was focusing so much on that R. So I would say, isn't there supposed to be a sound in there? Maybe in the beginning before the R? B bird. And then he was like, oh yeah, I forgot the I. So he self corrected. Also, break words into parts. Segment by sounds, especially in these younger grades. Segment by syllables in the older grades. And segment by morphemes in the higher grades before writing. Also, use oral language to support writing. So, say words and say sentences aloud before writing to reduce that working load memory. Like, if my daughter is copying something like off of our screen or off of a board, I tell her, one thing I did in school was if I saw the word cat and I had to write it on the page, I would say in my head, cat, 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 CAT. And then I would hold on to that working memory load until I wrote it on the page. Also, connect spelling to reading and vocabulary. You want to notice spelling patterns and word families in books, like Dr. Seuss is a really good example of rhyming books. Notice this in homework and everyday text. You also want to respond to errors with curiosity. Don't be afraid to ask, why did you do that? What made you do that? Don't always correct. Say things like, that spelling makes sense. What part do we need to fix? Rather than just saying, oh, that's wrong. You need to fix it. All right, so here is more directed. So let's say in the kindergarten grades, these are known for early spelling errors. So some common errors are, oh yeah, they might miss the k or the t sound in isolation in the word cat. They are definitely going to have letter reversals. That's developmentally normal. They might confuse vowels because they're still learning the difference between a short vowel sound and a long vowel sound, or just in between, because a lot of time the A vowel and the O vowel sometimes sound similar. So all it means is that the child is still mapping sounds to print. And what can you do as a parent? Number one, play sound games. You can Google phonics games. Think about what sound do you hear at the start or end. Use family names. Use some of their favorite interests, like if they really like space. Go through all the planet names. You can stretch words orally before writing, and you can model this. Like, let's say you're writing a list before you go grocery shopping. You can model, oh yeah, I need to get some milk. That's right. How do I spell milk? O k. That's right. MILK is milk. Also, you can use magnetic letters to build CVC words. There are some at the Dollar Tree. You can get some really affordable ones at the store. It's whatever you prefer. Also, you want to praise sound based attempts, not perfect attempts. So, any attempt that's made, you want to praise them for trying and thinking. Now, what do you not want to do at this specific stage is don't focus on correcting spelling. Do not drill spelling lists. Do not correct reversals harshly. You can do it in a nice way. And do not skip the oral language sound work, because oral language is that strong foundation for reading, writing, spelling, thinking. All right, now let's go to first and second grade. So this is mostly sound pattern confusions that we see. So some common errors you're going to see are when they're learning digraphs, which are two letters that make one sound. So if they want to write the word ship, you need to make sure that they put the SH together. So you want to practice that sound of sh together and show the difference between that and S on its own. S. So show the difference between sh and s. They also can be learning about magic E or silent E when the silent E is missing. So you want to practice the difference between like the word like cut versus cute. You want to show how that first vowel does change when that E is added. And then you learn about the long and short vowels because confusion does happen. Now, instruction needed, they're going to need explicit phonics. They're going to need that spelling practice. So if your school is not doing structured literacy, I will be honest, a tutor can help, but it's not going to replace that core instruction. So, what parents can do at home, you can dictate short, decodable words and sentences. There's a website called Reading Universe that has free decodable texts. You can just Google decodable books and you can find a lot. There's Starfall, they have decodable books that are free as well. You can ask your student, hey, which vowel sound do you hear? Think about the names in your family. How many vowels do you have in your name? Are they long vowels? Are they short vowels? You can highlight silent E in reading and writing, like books that you get, or printable, decodable text that you print out. You can sort words by spelling patterns. Now, what are some things that you do not want to do at this stage? You do not want to rely on memorization. I know a lot of schools are still sending home like high frequency word lists or word lists, and they want you to memorize, or they even say, like, hey, we didn't tell you to memorize it, wink, wink. But yeah, don't let your kid focus on memorization. Unless I will say the only difference is if they're hyperlexic and they're going to do it anyway. If it's their learning preference, that's not a problem. It's just don't force memorization on a kid that's not their preference. I will say, do not say just guess, or don't say, hey, look at the picture, or just sound it out. Give them tools on how to work out that word. And then also, do not push cursive too early, and don't push speed over accuracy, because speed can a lot of times hide a lot of the issues that you want to address. But I will say most schools start cursive in about third grade. Also, do not skip spelling practice. Try to make it in short increments, like 5 to 10 minutes, if that's what they're able to do. But try to slowly implement it and increase that endurance as they get older. Now, third and fourth graders. So, this is where we're going to focus on syllables and schwa. So, some common errors you're going to see are doubling mistakes because they're still learning that spelling rule, schwa spelling mistakes because they're still understanding the differences between how we write those sounds. And there's R controlled vowel confusion because they're still learning that as well. So, this is all developmentally appropriate. Now, the instruction needed is their teacher needs to be talking at the stage about syllable types and morphological instruction. I would even say, something like in my homeschool, we even started syllables in first grade, just as like a slow introduction. And you can still talk about syllables and increase your understanding. Like, you don't have to go through all the types in first grade unless your student wants to, but they should know all of their syllable types by third grade. What parents can do at home, you can clap and tap syllables. Also, another hint I do is I say put your hand on your throat, and when you feel, or actually you can put your hand under your chin. When your jaw drops, that's when you know a syllable is made, or when you feel the vibrations in your throat. But essentially, also you want to connect the difference between, or connect the association of syllables and vowels. Syllables are the vowels. But also, you want to teach open and closed syllables at this age. You want to practice adding suffixes, talk about lazy vowels, the schwa sounds. UFly, which is UFLI, has a lot of great resources that are free online. But here are some things not to do at this stage. Do not assume that errors are careless. These are it's data, it's information, it's where you can learn of what they are doing or what they're missing in their instruction. And do not always correct schwa spellings without explanation. You want to understand what that vowel issue is going on. And then do not expect adult level spelling at this stage. A lot of people expect kids to be perfect, but you have to remember, like, we have a keyboard access to our phone every single day. We have access to autocorrect. Even adults are not perfect spellers. And also, do not remove spelling supports if they need them. If they need a visual aid, like a spelling chart, like an alphabet chart, or a chart with all the 44 phonemes, do not remove that. All right, so what about fifth and sixth grade? So this is known as meaning-based spelling stage. So some common errors are root words, because they're still learning this, prefix and suffix confusion, maybe some homophone confusion. Instruction that's needed is Latin and Greek roots, focus on word families. So as a parent, you can Google, you can find word family games, you can find word family books, but you want to build that strength of word families. A lot of poems are good at this, songs are good at this, because when you have a rhyme, you have that pattern recognition. Highlight prefixes and suffixes. I remember when I was growing up, it was like a SAT word list, and they had a lot of good lists of explaining what the prefixes were. You want to ask your student, what does this part of the word mean? You want to use vocabulary notebooks. You can organize them by the roots. But ultimately, what you don't want to do is do not focus only on decoding or phonics at this age level, because that is way too young for them. They can, even if they're in remediation, you can still add in some morphology with every lesson. And do not remove spelling instruction because encoding supports decoding. And also, do not treat spelling as separate from meaning because it is attached together. But also, do not penalize content for spelling. So, you want to understand if they are comprehending what they're writing, but even if their spelling's not perfect, focus on the comprehension. All right, here are the upper grades, seventh and eighth grade. So, this is what we know as academic spelling. They're getting ready for high school, right? So, some common errors are you're going to see stressed based vowel reduction and you're going to see inconsistent academic vocabulary spelling. So, what do they need? They need morphology. They need etymology and they need structured literacy teachers that understand how to teach this. This is going to be your language arts teachers. So, what can you do as a parent at home? You can provide that background knowledge, explore word origins. There's a lot of great YouTube videos that explain this, there's podcasts that explain this. You can break the content area words into morphemes. You can encourage rewriting words, but not exactly copying. You can connect spelling to meaning and subject matter. What's something not to do? Again, do not expect memorization to work. Also, do not ignore spelling and content areas. Do not overcorrect without an explanation. And don't assume spelling errors equal low ability. Listen, there are older people, not spelling is not a perfect thing. But essentially, if you are looking for a one-page cheat sheet so you don't have to watch this video over and over again unless you really want to, on my website, I have made a printable cheat sheet for you and it goes all the way from kindergarten all the way to eighth grade and it helps you understand, okay, here's some errors, here's some solutions. But once again, thank you for watching.